The rubber fruit, one of the most iconic and nostalgic fruits in Blox Fruits, has finally received the rework that so many players have been waiting for. For years, this fruit was seen as a starter fruit, fun to use, but far from competitive compared to the high-tier options like doe, dragon, leopard, or Buddha. With the rework, however, the rubber fruit has been completely transformed. It now feels like a true mythical fruit, worthy of being part of the top meta, and many players are already calling it one of the most creative and fun fruits in the game. In this video, we're going to break down everything about the rubber fruit rework, from its old form to the new one, its abilities, combos, PvP and PvE potential, farming strategies, and how it now compares to the other strongest fruits in Blox Fruits. Whether you're a beginner or a veteran, this guide will help you understand exactly why the rubber fruit rework is one of the most exciting updates in the history of the game. Desert Island, the history of the rubber fruit in Blox Fruits. Before the rework, the rubber fruit was known more for its novelty than its actual combat potential. Inspired by a certain very popular anime character, it gave players the ability to stretch and throw out elastic punches. But in reality, its moveset was outdated. The animations were clunky, the damage output was low, and the abilities lacked the kind of impact that modern Blox Fruits abilities have. For example, players who used rubber were often seen as doing it just for fun or roleplay, but not as a serious choice for grinding or PvP. The fruit was simply outclassed in every category. Buddha and doe dominated farming, dragon and leopard dominated PvP, and even mid-tier fruits like light or magma provided better mobility and power. The community had been asking for a rubber fruit rework for years, and developers finally delivered. The rework not only brought new animations, updated models, and polished effects, but it also added brand new abilities inspired by advanced transformations. This instantly pushed the rubber fruit from the bottom tier all the way up to one of the most discussed and hyped fruits in the game. High voltage, why the rubber fruit got a rework. The main reason for the rework was simple. The rubber fruit was outdated. It had an old kit that didn't match the modern pace of Blox Fruits. The developers wanted to modernize the moveset with new animations and visual effects, add more mobility so players could use rubber competitively, increase damage potential with scaling abilities that reward combos, introduce transformations that tie into the gear theme from its inspiration, give players a fun fruit that can compete in PvP and still be enjoyable for grinding. This rework successfully achieved all of those goals, and many players now argue that rubber is one of the best designed fruits in the game. Cyclone new rubber fruit abilities. The rework gave rubber a complete kit overhaul. Here's a breakdown of its new abilities. 1. Pistol. A fast, long-range punch that extends your arm and deals moderate damage. This move is perfect for initiating fights or poking enemies at a safe distance. Its hitbox is surprisingly large, making it harder to dodge than before. 2. Bazooka. A powerful double-arm strike that launches enemies backward with explosive force. This move can be used as both a combo extender and a finisher, especially since it causes knockback and leaves enemies vulnerable. 3. Gatling. One of the most exciting abilities in the kit, Gatling unleashes a flurry of rapid punches at close to medium range. The rework made this move incredibly satisfying with smooth animations and high DPS potential. Perfect for pinning down enemies in PvP or shredding bosses in raids. 4. Rocket. Rubber's new mobility tool, Rocket lets you stretch your arms and launch yourself forward. This ability works as a gap closer in PvP and also doubles as a way to move quickly around maps. Combined with observation hockey, it makes rubber much more versatile. 5. Transformation, Gear Second. The highlight of the rework, rubber now has a transformation ability. Gear Second increases your speed, attack power, and attack speed, giving all your abilities a significant boost. Your punches glow with new effects, and your damage potential skyrockets. 6. Ultimate ability, Giant Pistol, Gear Third. This is the ultimate finisher move. Rubber inflates its arm to massive size and slams down with devastating force. It has a wide AoE and insane damage scaling, making it deadly in both PvP and PvE situations. Cross swords, PvP potential of the new rubber. The old rubber fruit was nearly useless in serious PvP, but the reworked version is a completely different story. Here's why. Mobility. Rocket, and Gear Second make rubber much faster and harder to pin down. Combos. Moves like Pistol, Bazooka, Gatling flow together naturally, giving rubber true combo potential. Damage scaling. Gear Second increases DPS to insane levels, making rubber a real threat even against top-tier fruits. Zoning. Giant Pistol creates massive pressure zones, forcing opponents to play cautiously. While rubber still requires skill to master because many of its moves require good aim, in the hands of an experienced player it can rival fruits like Doe, Leopard, and Dragon in PvP. Gemstone farming and grinding with rubber. Rubber wasn't always known as a good farming fruit, but the rework changed that. Gatling is now one of the best moves for farming NPCs, since it deals continuous damage in a small area. Combined with Rocket for mobility and Giant Pistol for boss fights, rubber has become surprisingly efficient for grinding. It's still not on the level of Buddha for AFK farming or Magma for large AoE grinding, but it's now a respectable choice for farming, especially for players who want a fruit that can do both PvP and PvE. Globe showing Europe-Africa raids and team fights. In raids, rubber shines as a damage dealer. Gatling and Gear Second allow rubber users to melt enemies quickly, while Rocket gives mobility to dodge boss mechanics. Giant Pistol, in particular, is amazing in raids because it deals huge AoE burst damage that clears groups of NPCs. In team PvP fights, rubber becomes even scarier since its combos and knockback abilities can set up kills for allies. Fire comparison, old rubber versus new rubber. Damage, old rubber had low damage, new rubber has high scaling damage. Mobility, old rubber was static, new rubber has rocket and speed buffs. Combos, old rubber had none, new rubber has multiple combo chains. Fun factor, old rubber felt clunky, new rubber feels polished and exciting. Meta relevance, old rubber was bottom tier, new rubber is mid to top tier. This rework has elevated rubber to the point where many players now actively seek it out, whereas before it was often ignored. Trophy. The impact of the rubber rework on the meta. The biggest impact of the rubber rework is that it has brought variety to the game's PvP and farming scene. Before, the meta was heavily dominated by Leopard, Doe, and Dragon. Now, rubber is joining that conversation, offering a fresh and dynamic playstyle. It's not just about raw damage. Rubber's unique mechanics, transformations, and combos make it stand out. Many players are experimenting with rubber in tournaments and discovering just how versatile it is. Glowing Star community reaction. The community has been overwhelmingly positive about the rework. Players are impressed with the animations, the faithful adaptation of its inspiration, and the way the fruit feels modern and powerful without being overpowered. Some even argue that rubber could get additional transformations in future updates, like Gear Fourth or beyond, which would make it even more insane. Crystal Ball. The future of rubber. The rework has set the stage for rubber to grow even further in future updates. Many players expect that additional gears could be added later, turning rubber into one of the most complex and evolving fruits in the game. For now, though, the rubber fruit rework stands as one of the best and most impactful updates Blox Fruits has ever seen. Direct Tip. Final thoughts. The rubber fruit rework has transformed what was once a weak, outdated fruit into one of the most fun and competitive options in Blox Fruits. With flashy abilities, powerful transformations, and real PvP potential, rubber has earned its place in the spotlight. If you haven't tried the new rubber fruit yet, now is the perfect time. It's not just a fruit, it's an experience, and one that has changed the game forever.